Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing some more Rakdos. We are putting in the new cards like Massacre Girl, Deadly Cover-Up, Judith. Big Rakdos is the key card that we're playing today and trying to get out early if we can. If not, play it later when our opponent's empty-handed. But we're just going to go ahead and hop into the game, see how they go. And if you all enjoy my content, please, for me, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you think of the deck or any suggestions you have. And let's just get out there and Rakdos some people. This matchup is going to be quite annoying. Pretty hard for us to get out in front of a lot of this. We'll go ahead and use this. Start a card. Let's make it a Tolly. We know why we're doing a Tolly. This is like a dead card. Realistically, the problem's going to come down to if they have enough cards in hand, but play Preacher. Preacher's really strong right now in this spot. Probably arguably one of the best draws we could have had. Go Berry Stomper, go get another land, sure. Maybe they have Binding. Any blue? Okay. Attack, we'll make a 1/1 and draw a card. To play in the Sunfall or to not play in the Sunfall? We need Mauled a ton. They don't even have double white, so I guess play a Breacher. The Mirrex is like frustrating now because every now and then it just turns back to gold for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. He just randomly says, I'm good. I like it here. We'll play Massacre Girl. But they can't block regardless, so I guess we just go to combat. Double trigger here. And because we have a higher life total at declare attacker step, we'll actually lose 2 life and draw 2 cards. We draw exactly kind of what we want. They could Leyline Binding now, of course. Will they to protect their life total? Lightning Helix. This isn't domain. It has to be domain though. No? I mean, we're going to basically take a look and just guess that their hand is an Atraxa or something. Or something big like an Atali maybe. We have an Atali in our yard that we could have done, but I think taking the risk of putting them empty-handed and then just going through the motions with what we got is so much better. Up to Beanstalk, fantastic draw for them. Invasion, another great draw. Holy. That is just great draw to great draw. Now the Stomper's online. For the first time, they're actually going to pay attention whether they have domain or not. So face there, we'll lose 3. Go grab a card. We grab. You know what card's actually really sweet here? I want to grab it so bad. This card's so sick here. I mean, we could wipe the board. Realistically, it's probably just the best option to grab. So we have kind of everything we want. Like, I really want to grab like a new card because I think that's just super sweet to do. But I think it's just going to be like a combat attack here, see what happens, and then just play a Massacre Girl and Virtue something maybe. Can I Virtue something and kill it? I could, in which I would draw a card. So I guess I'm just gonna grab this Deadly Cover-Up in case things get a little bit out of hand here. We'll do this. We'll play Massacre Girl, like I said. And then we'll move to combat. We'll double attack. Now, these will do damage in terms of Wither, but these will die. They have to kind of re-Massacre Girl. It won't draw off this or this blocking, though. That is important to note. Our opponent does have a lot of dead draws. They have a lot of basics out. And by dead draws, I mean they should draw potentially a ton of basics. Falls online. Those get popped. And again, like I said, won't quite work. We'll get rid of this. And now because it's -2, we'll draw a card off the Massacre Girl, which is super sweet. And we're finally getting some value out of it. Didn't quite get enough out of Golgari from her, but my Golgari deck wasn't built for it. We did make a couple of changes with this card to try to get a little bit more value if we can. Obviously, things like a Tolly and those that have Trample with a Massacre Girl in play is really nice. What are we tapping for here? Even up double white for the bindings or migration. That's sweet. Go to my graveyard, grab a Satali out. Oh. Leyline binding, in which we'll take their beanstalk case, which is really cool. Discard a card. Would I like to discard a swamp? Draw 2. Leyline binding, take their beanstalk, and call it a good day. Play Field of Ruin. Honestly, just probably try to put them in the dirt here. Deal 3 damage each creature and each planeswalker. Get those out of the way. Cycle this Soakazon. Attack in. Really just try to put the pressure on. And just like make it kind of Sunfalls or nothing. Oh. They put a Spyglass down there? That's kind of wild. I think it's just cut and dry this. Next, an attack for lethal. Very cool. I mean, that game was a lot closer than it needed to be, although our main win condition against that deck regardless is to mill them out a lot of times. Because they play Beanstalks and they start drawing a ton of cards, and we have enough spot removal for Atraxas a couple turns. And we just have to sit there and repeatedly over and over and over again. The other thing I really like about this, and why I grabbed it, is so if they do play an Atraxa, I can then blow it up, do the Discover thing, or the Evidence, and then exile all the Atraxas out of their deck so they don't have like a great win condition anymore, and maybe that can get them to concede. And we have a lot of answers, as you could tell, to this hard migration. So very cool. We end up taking that away. Very sick. Well, seems like a good hand. I've been struggling with flooding, where I'll look at a hand like this and then I will just rip only lands, or I'll look at a hand like this and I'll never see another land again. So I've had a fun experience. When the deck functions somewhat at all, great. I had to click out and look at something, but I mean, I'm gonna keep a land on top. I have demand answers, which is great. What is in white, maybe? Do I demand answers here? No, I need to second red source. What's this gonna be? Unicorn. Okay. Well, we'll take one. We'll land Brotherhood in this, I think. We could play Preacher. I actually like that. The reason I like playing Preacher here is, one, attacking's not that great. Two, they're not really going to play enough creatures to get this Warden to trigger, right? And the other thing is... Great. The other thing is this right here, where I'm going to cast this, and obviously this is a 4/4. But the other creatures will die, clearing that out of the way, and then I will play cards. Okay, sick. I'll take their Bunnycorn. Honestly, I don't... Ooh, miss land. Okay. Well, we are above. We don't have a Pain land in hand. Okay. Fine. Attack. The old-fashioned soul partition at a random point in the game. I love it. Look at your hand. Packle's good. The Emperor is not there. That does a lot of things I don't remember, but we're obviously going to take the Packle here. For them to draw another one. Oh, now they can play their Emperor. Sick. What do I get with Cruelty here? If I get Rakdos here. Oh, Rakdos is so thick here. I have a good card. Oh, wait, no, they have a good card for me. Yeah, like, we'll take one of their cards. I don't have a good card at all. Okay. All right. Well, because I want to play it. Honestly, it should be this. Take their Emperor, but they can flash in an Emperor. We'll grab Rakdos. Because Rakdos is cool. And then we'll say, here's this card. You answer it. And we're going to be like, nah, can't. What's this do? Whenever you attack with one or more creatures, create that many 1/1 green creature tokens. Then if you control 10 or more, you may play the exile card. Okay. No attack, just preserve her life total. This won't work. I'll draw 2 cards. Passing. This is like a weird matchup. Not even a weird matchup, I guess, but like just like a weird game in general. Miss a land. I will grab. I have a Packle, I guess. Play a Cavern. I'll name Dino. And we're gonna go looking again. One. And obviously they gotta flash that Emperor in. That's what we wanted them to do. Realistically.
I've learned much during my travels. Let me show you. May your blade strike true.
Why would they activate it immediately? Now I'm gonna attack it. You just hold it. Hello? That's a crazy play to me. You know this is all like, let me go get Sunfall here, or hope Sunfall's good enough. But at the same time, that was crazy to me. Land Sunfall. My opponent gonna make a game of this. It doesn't quite seem that way. That's a little tough. That's a little tough for sure. So for me, I'm gonna just grab a Tali. Do I have a way to make them discard? I don't have a duress or anything, right? Yeah, no way to make them discard. So I'm just gonna grab this breach at this point. I have 8 million cards in hand. I'll go to combat. So this last card's an Emperor. It's an Emperor. Not that opposed. I could have grabbed the Brotherhood in and just like popped all these creatures off the board so their Sunfall's not near as strong. But we see them block here. I'm gonna make sure I trade that. I mean, I could have left the Packle in play, but I don't really care because again, Sunfall is what's like devastating here more than anything. Nothing in there, so let's surveil land. Cut down, not great. Then I could Carnosaur, I could big score, but let's go ahead and breach. I would take my graveyard, a Tali, my opponent's graveyard. We'll just take their Mondrak, I guess. And then if a Tali hits a token producer, we'll just make a ton and then get it all Sunfalled. And then die to a creature, but we have a long goodbye, so we get to pop the Sunfall regardless. But, I mean, we win kind of a little bit of a non-game, like... Started out strong. Wedding announcement was obviously really good, but I mean, I know it went unchecked, but boy, oh boy, that guy was that guy cooking? Okay, well, yeah, I mean, we're on the play, so it's definitely a little bit more keepable because of that. And we have a lot of ways to pitch these, so, well, at least pitch this to either draw cards or make manas. Good board wipe to be having ready in an action. If this Boros, we get to play a Preacher here. Does not commit our Cavern quite yet. Preacher down. Nice little 2/4. I will say I was playing a match before this one, just testing some stuff out, and holy did I not test the deck out. I won against blue-white control, and they drew out a cards, and I had 2 cards left in my library. Now, this, you might be thinking, frick, maybe you should block. That's an Nganjo all day. Like, you ain't tricking me that easy. Come on now. Now, you'll get to do it here on an attack, but on the flip side of that, I get to make a lifelinker. And I'm not near down as bad, in my opinion, by this. Because I don't get to kill one of their creatures anyway. I save 1 damage, but I do the same by making a 1/1 lifelinker and blocking. For this, we name Dinosaur, and that's pretty good. Now we end our turn. We can demand answers. It's only sacrifice artifact, right? It can't be creature either. Tough. Snap off that block. As a deck that kind of wants to maximize their creature output, little surprising to say the least. Let's do this. Let's put Tully in the bin. Can very quickly like kind of outpace this deck for sure. And it looks like we're probably going to see a lot of flash things coming in here. But that's what our long goodbye's for. And a cut down's actually a fantastic draw to help us there. Plus this is in the pocket. So I mean we have a couple of spells to answer some big creatures if need be. We're probably going to see a double flash or just a Mirrex activation. That's fine. Weirdly enough, I'm going to cut down this now to make their knights a little bit worse. Because you don't want a knight with one creature in play and then you have to hit 2 1/1s. Or 1 mana spells. Huh. I didn't know those sleeves existed. I could. Did I? Nah, I'm working to get to Breach the Multiverse. There's no reason. If my Boros opponents... Not that my Boros opponent is playing slow, but their deck is just functioning pretty slow. Dino, Cruelty, Mode 3, grab our Atali. I mean, it's just as clean as that. You might have, like, Fateful Absence or something like that. They might have, like, just strong removal. But Atali comes in, triggers regardless. Now we can hit pretty much anything and it'll be going well. Packle and Go for the Throat. So they are playing spicy cards. Let's just Go for the Throat, get our value. And we put a Packle into play, which is sweet. Like, if there's a card for us to want to put in play, Packle is definitely one of them. Lightning Helix is up. Yeah, so this isn't Boros Convoke like I thought at first. I mean... You would think, like, the way their turn 1, turn 2 let out, you would think it's Convoke, but yeah, they're just like Boros Burn Pile here. And I don't think they can answer a Tully, so they're definitely trying to get there. Tokens. Make some tokens. No red mana, only white. No red mana, only white. Skip them. Big hits. I thought about bringing this up and attacking, but I just don't want it to get blown up. And I have like some removal here. I'm not too opposed to just kind of sitting on this. There are 3 cards in hand. There's a Packle. Like, we'll just answer that. They're in combat now. This is uncounterable. I'm gonna take the chance here. Try to double answer this. 2 Lauren escapes. Okay. Try to the bottom. Go get the Scry again. A lot of damage to do that, but sure. Oh man, Breach just doesn't want to come off the top, huh? Attack here. Of course, no blocks because I don't know why they would. We gotta do this. Packle. What in the world? Oh boy. Oh yeah, they're on that good stuff. I wonder what if they kept on top, like a Mondrak or this. Pretty interesting. But yeah, we'll just take the Packles while we can. Done. I mean, it also shuffles their library, so now they have a random card, a choice, and it is a land, so they can make a Mirrex token. We find a land, which is super hot here. Now we cast a Breach. We have an Atali in our graveyard, and we get to take whatever card that we hit of theirs, which could be a lot of things. What's my opponent's yard? These. Honestly, Atali's good. I kind of like grabbing Rakdos here because Rakdos is just going to draw me a ton of cards comparatively. So this might be one of the times where Rakdos is just like a significantly better card in this situation. You make a token and I'm like, all right, would you like to sack? You can't? Okay, I'll draw cards. And Rakdos is going to put in a lot of work. It's a Phyrexian demon. Ooh. But of all creatures that we hit of our opponents, we definitely had some better choices for sure. We just didn't quite get there. We play land. I'm not going to get too hasty because they do have a creature land as well. I'm just going to attack with Rakdos, call it a day. I didn't see a Wandering Emperor, but I could have panned over it. That's a big hit for us. If we can ever get there. And then I think it's just an end turn. Draw 2 more cards off this Rakdos. Because again, it says non-token card. So they can't even sack the Myrixes. Flash in a Helix, or flash in by, they just cast a Lightning Helix. They go up to 6. Again, we have everything covered pretty much. The only card I think they could answer us with is a Lightning Helix. But they don't get it, and we end up taking away the win. Very cool deck from our opponent. But also, getting to see Rakdos kind of pop off and be like the best card. Not very many times do you see an Atali in the graveyard and go, yeah, I'm going to grab Rakdos instead. But, I mean, you can see 2 turns unanswered. It's just, we drew so many cards. All right, we go first. I mean, yeah, this is about a hand that you would want. I mean, we have removal, and then a burn removal that also plays well into our Cruelty Gigs just to be playing against blue-white. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Blue-white, I'm so sick of ye. I don't even care. I'm popping this. Get out of here. Doesn't really matter. We could grab a mountain right now. Make their mana a little bit harder. We want it again. We are pretty much on the just do nothing plan. It's going to be a long game. It was a long game last time. It really just kind of boils down to, do we find the answer to their Jason time, or do they mill us? Turn, no memory to lose nothing from our opponent. Sure. Combat. Yeah. Draw a card and make a 1/1. I guess is a uncounterable dino. A sword. Carnosaur. And we're getting Sunfall here, so it's a little bit questionable. Just put that in our hand, I guess. We're gonna get rid of our cavern. That also makes sense. Grab a swamp. Our hands, like as you can tell, pretty heavy on the black mana side. We do have an Atali in hand. Another Field of Ruin comes down. Sunset Revelry gain life. Interesting. I'm gonna put this in, put it on mode number 1. I think, if it doesn't get countered. Very possible it gets countered. Yeah. That makes sense. But obviously now they're kind of in a tougher spot. Okay, well, that screams Sunfall. Here comes. Oh, nothing? Okay. Land, guess what? We have 3 mana this time. Ooh. Dang. Next. An answer for the Carnosaur? Sure. Now we will attack. We'll draw a card off the Preacher now. Breach is a great card. It blocks. Seems absurd to me, to be honest with you. Just a good card to draw. Could have put it in the bin just in case we wanted to hit it with like the Breach, but one of the reasons we don't do that. And our opponent concedes. Okay. Sick. That wasn't going to take as long as I once thought it was. So that's pretty sweet. I'm happy I didn't have to sit here all day. We go first. I mean, just all the removal in the world into Judith. Judith not being the best card, but I think playing with this much removal in hand is pretty nice. A maul from them. I've been keeping a lot more removal heavy hands just on the fact that like Boros Convoke has been very popular, and then Mono Red obviously on new sets is generally pretty popular as well. So for us, seems reasonable. It has to be Gruul, right? I think anytime I've ever seen this is Gruul, so I'm gonna buy my time here. I'm just gonna sit here and wait and see if they try to put an Audacity on that. It is Boros, but they're just playing Grand Portal. Okay. Sure. Okay. Yes. One. Man Answers is pretty sick. I like that. Realistically, I would like to get to actually play this because making 2-2s against this match seems really, really good. Whether or not we'll get there. Should I answer one of these now? Or just answer the big creatures? Maybe just answering the big creatures is fine. Then they can keep reloading. But I would like to demand answers to try to find a Let's put in. There we go. That's the word I want. Two-lander. The Boros special right now. No answer to that. Which is tough, but let's do the man answers. I do think Judah. Ooh, let's do this the opposite way. Keep the go for the throat right now. Oh, brutal, huh? It's like, what if we give you a couple tap lands instead? Brother said in, please. Hey, both of those require 2 red, I guess. Well, Brother said end, the game would be over, but we didn't draw it, so I mean, now we're probably gonna get recruited and died. If I had to take a guess. I mean, combat, I'm just gonna pop a creature. Gotta do something. Can't just keep taking the damage. Same scenario applies though. Brothers hit in, I feel like we win. No brothers hit in, I feel like we lose. This one, I guess. My problem is just dying slowly. Just block whatever they target, of course. Could be a Helix, but Helix still kills it if I block anything. Down to 6. Brotherhood End will get to do the sickest thing you have ever seen in your entire life if this Judith is still in play. Please, I want to show it off. You just had to draw land. Brotherhood End giving this life link would have gained me 3 life for every single creature in play, and I just don't get it, dude. Oh my god, I just flood, and yeah, I lose. Okay, sick, man. We almost had the coolest play, but okay. I'm going to talk about the deck a little bit. I already recorded this once. I was rambling, so I'm just going to try to be a little bit more concise about what I was talking about and just get through this. So I played the matches that I recorded, and then I had to go to work, go to the gym, do my thing. So I came back and I was playing some more matches to kind of get some games in, just to like have a better understanding, because I know a lot of things happen and some people have asked me personally, would you recommend crafting these cards or not? And I just want to be honest, obviously. Because I hate when people are like, this deck's nuts, you should play it, and then like don't take into consideration that not everybody has the money or is willing to put the money in to craft every single deck that we want to call insane. But recording went well. I then went on a cold streak, but the cold streak never felt like I didn't have a chance to win the game. So what I'm saying is sometimes I'd play against Boros Convoke. I draw a Brotherhood Den, I win the game. Sometimes I'd play against Control. I drew a Breach the Multiverse, I won the game. But instead, I didn't draw those, and I lost. So obviously Breaches are 2 of, and Brotherhoods were 3. And some of the things I ended up doing, we have a slippery little massacre girl hiding back here. I ended up cutting this as well, just because, again, we didn't quite have the burn to do much in our creature. If we don't have like a lower to ground creature that really gets this benefited. We did actually trigger this more times in this matchup than I did in the Golgari deck, which is funny because I did virtue a creature and kill it, and therefore, like, because it was under 0, Massacre drew us a card. It might not be as bad as I think it is in this matchup, just because it can potentially draw us cards, but I don't know if it's necessarily that good. I'd much rather go up to a 4th copy of Brother's Hood in and just cut this Massacre Girl for now. I want to build around this, really. Like, honestly, I do, but right now I just don't know if it's necessarily as good. Other than that, we have Judith here. I was trying to make this work because I do play a lot of removal spells and things like that, like Big Score and whatnot. One of the problems was my deck list isn't exactly what it was before I started because I was changing stuff around. I tried to put it back, but this is where I kind of settled. I was down on 2 Big Scores and I was playing like 2 Demand Answers. I think it's the only difference right now. So it did look like this, but realistically it probably should be more like this, or like cut this and then put it in this. But I'm just keeping Massacre Girl here for like exporting purposes if somebody wants to test it out and try it. But I really got this just to be like, okay, well, you know, let's play this 3-4. Let's cast a couple spells, do our thing. It's easy to play on turn 5 if it's in our hand, if we cast a Big Score before, which for some reason I was in like, I'm going to play 2 Big Scores. And it's like, okay, the main thing I wanted to do, I just cut it. So that was fine. And I was really happy about that. Not really. But the thing about it that's really cool, though, and the thing is super sick, and I was hoping to hit it in one of the matchups, and I did not. And I ended up dying. And I literally pulled up the game, hit record, because I was trying to I was like, this would be a sick clip. I had Judith in play, and my opponent was playing Boros, and they had 7 creatures in play. If I draw a Brother's Hood in, and I was at 1, by the way, if I draw a Brother's Hood in and then give my spell Lifelink and Death Touch, because the spell gains Lifelink and Death Touch, I would have killed all their creatures, and then I would have gained 3 for every single creature that took damage. And they would have been empty-handed. All their creatures would have died. And next turn, I would have just like slam big spell. And I was like, man, this is going to be so sick if I get to do it. Fell short. Fell a little short here. But I do think to some extent, I wouldn't mind building a little bit more around this card and playing it. And then maybe even getting the Carnosaurs out of here because these don't count as spells for this. And then maybe cut these and just add like Play-With-Fires or something. Just a little bit of burn to kind of get there a little bit quicker, or against some of the, you know, control decks, we can kind of burn them out because sometimes they have to just take a big hit. But triggering this, you know, like trying to build around it, actually try to build around it, you know, not just like slot it into a deck that we already know that works, but make this like a damage spell, just play long goodbyes because obviously they're good, but then back up on the Brotherhood end. Maybe the only problem is that this dies as well, but realistically for Brotherhood's ending using this spell, not that big of a deal. But also, if we don't need the Death Touch and Lifelink, we can just make the 2/2. It'll die to the Brotherhood end, but then they'll take 2 damage, and we still get to keep our Judith in play. So other than that, I'm not really sure. I think also Preacher should probably be a 4 of, is another thing that I would like to do. The thing that really suffers in this deck is not having like that turn to... We don't have like that Mosswood Dread Knight card, that card that constantly draws us cards. It keeps us going, keeps us afloat, and that's what I was hoping Demand Answer was at 2, because it kind of serves the same purpose, and maybe we have to cut these Bitter Triumphs and can't really rely on them as much as we used to, and just be playing like way more Demand Answers, and maybe just being like, this is gone, there's 3 of these. I did try one other card that I want to talk about a little bit. It was a case. I tried this. The only problem is I never solved it. But I don't necessarily think that mattered. The intent was always there, and there was a couple games later that I played that I actually did run out of cards, and this would have been huge for me. But the games I played it, I was like, I always have 5 cards in hand. This is never going to work. So I might have judged this card a little too quickly in this deck specifically. A lot of people have been talking about how this card's nuts. I kind of tend to agree with them. It is play it, you discard a card, you draw 2, especially in our deck. Like, we love that. It kind of fits that Fable the Mirror Breaker spot. And if we're empty-handed on our upkeep, we discard our hand, and then, or if we solve this, we discard our hand, we draw 2 cards, and then we draw for turn. So then we just put 3 cards in our hand. The only card that really makes us go, wow, that would suck, is Shieldred. So, I mean, you know, the card that won't rotate next rotation. Outside of that, maybe you could argue that we need to play Shieldreds and stuff. It's just hard. getting all these cards into this deck list, and I really do think you kind of have to start like trimming off. And I haven't even got to this guy. It's a long outro, but I think new sets kind of demand that. This guy was sick. Like, I was so pumped and so thrilled with how this guy performed sometimes, where I was just like, I could put Natali in, but then they could board wipe me. Or they could kill it. Natali could hit some bad cards, because obviously Natali hitting a cut down with their board empty is not good. And if we're playing against another like black deck, they might hit a go for throat. We're not going to go for throat our own Natali. So sometimes it was just nice to play this and be like, let me draw 2 cards. It's a flying trampler 6/6. I'm going to draw 2 cards. Okay. I'm going to draw 2 more cards. Okay. And then you just like slowly blow the game out. And it's just, it happens very quickly. So other than that, that's all I got. I'm going to try other versions to Rakdos. I might play like Blood Tithe Harvesters and things like that and try to get like in the mix with this card, along with like using this Judith card as well. But who really knows? I think that would have to be more of a Rakdos mid-range deck than a kind of ramp deck with playing big scores. I probably don't think we'd play that in that deck list. So who knows? I hope you all enjoyed either way. I'm going to call it now, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.